Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. We are live on YouTube. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. How's everyone doing tonight? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of Navigating the Modern World with none other than me, Eli. The Walking with Purpose live edition. Live again today from Red Morton Park because I just couldn't get out on the walk any sooner. Lots to do, lots to do. This is episode number 897. 897. Tomorrow will be 898. Sunday will be 899. And more than likely Monday will be number 900. Oh, I hear the fire truck. Somebody called 911. Whew, man. Whenever I hear those sounds, I just pray to God that whatever that 911 call was made on is going to be okay. But anyway, we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about here today. And I'm going to turn on the front light because it is dark. So let's just go. Whoops. Come on, switcheroo. Why aren't you switching today easily? I got my touch gloves on. It makes it a little bit more difficult. There we go. There we go. Well, when we get to the other side of the park, I'll be able to put the front-facing camera on where there is light. There's no light here. They should put some lights out here. They probably will end up putting some lights out here in this area. Because look, I've got the iPhone light on. If I turn it off, look at the difference. And these little LED lights on the smartphones nowadays, they're pretty powerful. And they're very efficient. They're very energy efficient. LEDs are great. And like I mentioned in some previous streams, here in California, incandescent light bulbs have been outlawed. So you have to use LEDs, which is great because they're brighter and they use like 80-85% less power at the same brightness because they can achieve the same brightness with less wattage of an incandescent light bulb. Saves money on the power bill, and it just better protects our resources. It's Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th. And Dawn and I are going to celebrate, my girlfriend Dawn and I are going to celebrate Friday the 13th by having dinner together at home when I get back. And we're just going to Netflix and chill, right? That's what they say nowadays, Netflix and chill. Or one of the other streaming services or DirecTV or whatever. That's how we're going to spend the evening of Friday the 13th. You know, Friday the 13th for me has actually been a good luck day. You know, the superstition of Friday the 13th is that people will have bad luck on that day, right? Or bad things will happen, right? Well, that's never happened to me. And so I wish you nothing but a great rest of your Friday the 13th in the most positive ways possible.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
How's your day going?
Good. How's your day going? There's a couple people playing baseball with no lights on the field. They're using the lights of the field next to them, right? That's very dangerous. It's just very dangerous. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit, but it's not bright enough to be safe to play baseball or to even have batting practice. But everyone is different. Everyone likes to take different risks. That's probably one I wouldn't take. Yeah, it's about 54 degrees right now, and it's a little windy. So the wind chill is making it feel like it's under 50. I've got my gloves on. It is cold. It is chilly. But I'm bundled up, triple layered up, gloves on, everything, right? And I'll be all warm after the first lap. But anyway, I've got some great updates for you folks here today that have been, following us, the GNA, for a little while, and following myself, Eli, and my girlfriend Dawn, and some of the other great longtime members of the GNA, like Sandra Palacio and Tia and Queen Helen Casey and Lewis and many others. So let's get to that. Oh, once again, by the way, this is a members-only live chat. The stream is publicly viewable, but only members with at least a $2.99 channel membership can chat. Moderators can chat for free. Anyone can super chat. If you're not a member and don't want to become one and you want to send a message, you can send a super chat. That'll go through. Regardless, the same rules apply for super chats, channel memberships, super stickers, and all that. The same rules apply as if you were chatting for free. You say something nasty and you pay to say it, that doesn't excuse you. Paying someone money to talk shit about them is inexcusable. It's actually a pretty crappy thing. It makes you a pretty crappy person. And you'll be banned immediately. And then you can do like most other people have done. You can go and cry to YouTube and say, well, I paid a membership. He should let me chat. Nope. Nope. You paid a membership to be able to view the content. In this case, you're paying to chat. But if you abuse your right to chat by violating my rules and YouTube's community guidelines, we'll take your money and remove you. It's as simple as that. Now, on to the next thing. So, I haven't talked about this in a while, the GNA Positivity Pledge. It's coming very soon. It's coming over the next few days. I've been working diligently on the GNA website. I've also been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the Coach Eli website. They're both going to be, they both are a part of the GNA because the Coach Eli brand and everything I do under my name is under the DBA, the fictitious business name. Elias Melas, DBA, Genuine Networking Association. So, Coach Eli, Elias Melas, it all relates and ties into the GNA. So, I've been optimizing both the websites. There was a lot of updates I needed to do to the GNA website because it was the website that I was using when I used to run in-person networking events. And a lot of that stuff, all that stuff is still going to be publicly accessible, but I'm going to update the site where, on the front page, you'll be able to access the current GNA, and if you want access to sections of the older GNA website, there'll be a link to take you to that section, and you can access everything in the same ways it is right now. You can call that more so the legacy website, right? And there's a lot of great content still out there, a lot of great interviews from back in the days of where I used to run in-person networking events and do public speaking events and stuff like that. So I don't want to take that down. It was a lot of work to put it together over the years. And it basically shows a history of the organization. And anyone that comes in at this point, I want them to see what we've done in the past and, you know, what it took to get it to where it's at today. So I've been working on the GNA website, and it's working decent, but there's an issue of where, you know, sometimes pages are not loading up as quickly as possible. They're taking like 5 to 10 seconds to load. And that's an optimization issue somewhere. I just have to go through the site and find out where the slowdown is at and correct it, and then it'll all be running snappy. I'm going to be working on that over the weekend, as well as the GNA Positivity Pledge. Now, if you folks remember, some of you may remember this from many years ago. There was a gentleman named Big John. He used to run a channel called MGTOW's Freedom. And the MGTOW's Freedom channel was terminated. I honestly definitely felt that Big John, his channel MGTOW's Freedom, was wrongfully terminated. The problem was he was monetized, and he basically, what do you call it? He basically was running this channel during a time where many advertisers were threatening to pull out of YouTube if YouTube didn't build a system to better control who gets access to ad revenue and who doesn't, who's allowed to be in the YouTube partner program or not. This was happening, around 2017 and 2018. I believe it was 2018. Early on in 2018, where Big John's MGTOW's Freedom channel was shut down. I firmly believe that if that same exact channel was running today, I firmly believe that he would not have been removed, because a lot of the advertisers have loosened up, and YouTube has, honestly, from what I've seen, they're still strict with monetization policies, but they're not extremely overly strict like they were when the advertisers were threatening to pull out in 2017 and 2018. You know, that's when they made the changes with the stricter requirements to qualify, needing 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. Before, all you needed was 10,000 views, and before that, anyone could apply right away. So, you know, there's a long history in regards to how YouTube has evolved over the years. And actually, I feel their system right now is far better than it was. So when Big John's channel, MGTOW's Freedom, was removed, I decided, because I had actually interviewed, actually not yet, I had not interviewed him yet. I did end up interviewing Big John. Out of every single person that knew John, a lot of people knew Big John. I ended up getting the interview. He gave it to me because I was communicating with him, and he lived in California like myself. And he just had a lot of respect for what I was doing, and he felt I should have a lot more. He felt I should have a lot more subscribers and stuff, and he was trying to help me. God bless you, John. John has moved out of state since. I can't remember exactly where he's at. And he still runs a channel called the Prepare Mind. That's always been his main channel. He's had a channel called the Prepared Mind, like a prepper channel. Mad respect for John, and John is full-blown conservative. And I still have a lot of respect for him. I don't disrespect people based on their political party preferences or views. I don't hate people because of that or disrespect them. And I try not to disrespect anyone anyways. I don't disrespect people. I don't hate people based on their political party preference. It has to do with their behavior. If I don't like someone, or if I'm not too fond of someone, it has to do with their behavior. More so than anything else, right? So I decided to put out a petition to get 50,000 signatures, digital signatures. And I ran a petition on my coach.eliasmelas.com website back then. Again, the coach.eliasmelas.com website. I ended up actually getting almost 800 signatures, which is pretty incredible in itself, but nowhere near the 50K. I wanted to get 50,000 petitions so then we could send it to YouTube and try to get his channel back. That probably wouldn't have worked, but you know what? I really respected John, and his work was fantastic, and learned a lot from John. And I mean, he was one of the realest people that was creating content in that crazy MGTOW community. He was one of the positive ones, and he was one of the real ones. And he would never attack anyone. He just shared his stories. And you could really feel his pain on what he went through regarding his divorce. And I've got this really awesome WordPress plugin that does great petitions. And I've installed that also on the genuinenetworkingassociation.org website. And that's what I'm going to be using for the GNA Positivity Pledge. Basically, you're going to go in there. You're going to just click on yes. I'm taking the Positivity Pledge. You enter your email. You will be required to verify your email because we don't want any bots or spammers. So, you're going to have to verify your email before your pledge is posted publicly. And then, your pledge will be posted publicly along with the amount of people that are taking the Positivity Pledge. So I'm going to be working on that over the weekend and kind of reformatting the layout of the GNA website. A lot of the field will still look the same, still the same WordPress theme, but there's just so many options when you use a premium WordPress theme that you pay for. And I've been using one for years that just has phenomenal options. So I'm going to get that done over the weekend and hopefully have it ready. It should be ready by Monday. Now, on Tuesday, this stream is about the GNA Positivity Pledge. And then it's also going to be about what's happening on Tuesday. This Tuesday, December 17th, is my 51st birthday. Yeah, I'm more than a half century old now. God, goodness gracious, right? And this is what I have tentatively planned. And I have not talked to anyone about this besides Dawn. And There's a lot of stuff actually going on for Dawn and I on that day. So I typically will do a birthday bash stream on my birthday every year, and that's the plan this year. Because of the limited time that we have, this will more than likely happen. I'm going to do it regardless whether people come on or not. If I end up doing it by myself with no guests, hey, no problem. But my intention is to get people like Sandra Palacio on and Tia on. I don't know if Dawn is going to come on or not. That may be a possibility. Don't count on it, but it is what it is. But she will be supportive. She just may not come on the show for reasons that have nothing to do with me. And then, yeah, I'll invite people. I'll invite everyone, like Alex the Beer Master, Lewis Fuller, Queen Helen Casey will be invited. I'll be reaching out to the folks that will be invited on the StreamYard panel. Over the weekend. The tentative start time of the show is going to be 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, and it'll run for 90 minutes. Hard stop at 90 minutes. So between 2:30 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Pacific, because I still want to get a walk-in on that day. The party will continue on the walk, and I don't want to overdo. I really don't want to overdo any streams nowadays. You can have one heck of a birthday bash and bring on some people for an hour and a half. You don't have to be on a panel for 4, 6, 8 hours, So that's what the plan is in regards to the birthday. So that is that. As far as other stuff, I'm considering doing a Christmas show. Again, Dawn may join me on that. Maybe, maybe not. That's up to her. I'll probably do a Christmas show regardless. But there will be a Christmas show, and my God, I almost tripped over this because whoever cut this left this on the ground, on the sidewalk. Luckily, I've got good balance. I just moved it out of the way so no one else trips over it. Someone cut a tree branch and left part of the branch out on the sidewalk, and when it's dark, you can't see it. Even with some light, it's hard to see. Anyway. So, yeah, there will also be there'll be a New Year's Eve show this year. Again, Dawn may join me, maybe, maybe not. It's completely up to her. I'm not going to be offended if she doesn't show up. And her and I are just fantastic. It's just whatever she feels like and whatever I feel like, and we're just gonna play that by ear between now and then. But the intention is to possibly have some people join me on some very special events over the next few weeks. And we encourage you folks. We know there are a lot of you that have been following us for a while. And we know some of you want to comment and participate more, but you're not doing it because you fear the repercussions of other creators out here on YouTube. I'm here to tell you that, hey, it's okay if you want to participate. And if you need to participate anonymously, as long as you're not harassing, you can also become a channel member on an account that's not your identifiable account. If you're worried about other people knowing who you are, which you really shouldn't. Honestly, you really shouldn't worry about or care about people that are just trolling and doing dumb shit, right? Just ignore that stuff and do what you feel like doing and support who you feel like supporting. But Dawn and I, in the new year, we are going to be focusing more of our time on our moderators and other paid channel members. And to become a part of the GNA, it's extremely affordable. And joining the GNA, you're going to be joining a group of kind, loving, caring people at a core that are professional in the business world as well. And we're just going to be focusing on tons and tons of positive and uplifting things. In the future, we're going to be educating you folks on a lot of amazing things. If you want to learn how to start your own business, how to protect yourself legally, stuff like that. We're going to talk more about, dating relationships and how to find the love of your life and what are methods that have worked for myself and Dawn and what hasn't worked for myself and Dawn and other people that we bring on the channel. A lot of people over the years have really enjoyed my dating content and my dating stories because they were always raw and real. And while a lot of my methods that have worked are not methods that, people typically, think would work or think are the right thing to do, they actually do work. They actually do work. Because if you're trying to find the true love of your life, okay, the last thing you want any potential, prospect to do is waste your time. You got to find out as quickly as possible whether there's chemistry and, most importantly, attraction. Attraction is a must and not a choice. Attraction is a must and not a choice. That's the key factor right there, right? And, I want to drill it into everyone's head that when you first meet someone, it's either all there or will never be there. There's never going to be a lukewarm, maybe, let's just see how it goes. No. If you come across someone like that and you're more interested in them than they are in you, if you're excited as a man to be going on a date with a woman and when you meet her, if she's not showing excitement of meeting you, like instantly, then she's probably not into you. That's just the way it goes. It's called the law of attraction. And in the new year, a lot of the GNA's content is going to be focused around the law of attraction. Because the law of attraction is pretty much everything when it comes to personal relationships, business relationships. And everything in life stems from attraction because people feel comfortable being around other people, whether it's for business purposes or personal purposes. They feel more comfortable being around people that they get to know, like, and trust, right? So if you come across someone on a dating app and you connect and then you decide to meet, and when you first lay eyes on each other, if you don't feel a strong level of attraction for the woman and you like her, and if she doesn't feel a strong level of attraction for you and she likes you, it's practically not going to work out. And even if you go on more dates, it's only a matter of time before it fizzles out. And you have to also understand in relationships, sometimes people go on dating apps because they just want like a short relationship. I'm learning a lot more. I've read a lot about these things, and I'm learning a lot more about short-term relationships and why people get into them. It's basically after they've gotten out of a relationship, it's a transition period. They still want the intimacy. They still want the company of a decent person. But either they're not ready to fully be in a relationship, or you're not their typical type of person they would want to settle down with, but you're good enough to hang out with, be intimate with, and go to dinners with and stuff like that, right? And if you're if you're looking for something more long term, you're probably going to encounter some of those short-term relationships, and they're going to appear like they're going somewhere, but then eventually you get ghosted, right? See, nowadays it's just real easy to just hang out with somebody for a while and then just ghost them, right? It's because of the way we communicate. We communicate via text message and smartphones, and we can block people on our phones, right? We can block people on email. We can block them on our phones, right? So, we're going to focus a lot on the law of attraction. And the law of attraction goes far above and beyond physical attraction. Is physical attraction a part of the law of attraction? Yes, it is a part of it. It's not everything. It has to be there. But you could be the hottest person in the world, male or female, and still be a shitty person. And you can meet a woman, as a guy, you can meet a woman that's physically attracted to you, but if she thinks you're a jerk or she can't feel comfort around you or trust you, that's not going to go anywhere, right? So the law of attraction, involves physical attraction, involves emotional attraction, involves spiritual attraction, involves the mental attraction. I call it mental stimulation, right? For me, one of the most important things when I was on the dating scene before I met Dawn, and even when I met Dawn, she had to have that mental stimulation, and she did, and she does. For me, it's one thing to see a hot woman respond to you on Match.com. It's another thing if you can get on the phone with that hot woman and have a nice conversation that has nothing to do about looks, and bring some intelligence and intellect along with those physical attributes, right? See, a lot of guys give women the time of day just because they're hot, right? And they put up with a bunch of stuff they shouldn't have to put up with. And women do it too, on the flip side. I use guys as the example because guys nowadays, a lot of guys nowadays are just big sissies. They're just big P-U-S-S-I-E-S. I'm trying to be nice. They're big P-U-S-S-I-E-S. And that's just very unattractive to women, especially in this modern world where women have risen up and become stronger, right? Nowadays, you more so have to be a stronger guy, and you got to stand your ground. I mean, don't be a jerk or an asshole, but also don't let a woman jerk your chain. Now, a lot of people that are immature will say, well, Eli, I love it when a woman jerks my chain. Well, in that context, I do too. Who wouldn't? But, in this context, when I'm saying jerk your chain, what I'm saying is, mess with your mind, leading you to believe that there's something more there than there actually is. Right? Maybe she's leading you on because she's got nothing better to do, or until she finds another guy that's willing to take her to expensive dinners like you are, or weekend getaways. Right? Even if she's sleeping with you doesn't mean she's really into you. Sex has nothing to do with it. The emotional bond has a lot to do with it, and the mental stimulation has a lot to do with it. So my advice to people, we'll talk more about it in the new year. My advice to people seeking to find the one is to focus more. It's a little bit windy. Focus more on the emotional bond and mental stimulation. Having mentally stimulating conversations and having an emotional bond. Yes, you've got to have some physical attraction. But if you two see each other's pictures or you meet in person and you're physically attracted to each other, then have a conversation. You should talk with people. If you're meeting people online, you should have an hour or so conversation by phone before you meet them. And if they're not open to having that conversation and they want to meet without that, then that's your telltale sign of saying that you're not worthy of their time for a 1 hour phone call. I would call that the pre-screening aspect before the date. You want to pre-screen your people as best as possible. You don't want your time wasted. You also want to get a good feel that it's safe to be around that person. Even if you're a man, you should be pre-screening your partners to make sure they're safe to be around. It's not just women that have to worry about safety. Men do too. A lot of women nowadays, they like to say, oh, the man doesn't have to worry about anything. It's just us women have to worry about our safety. We do too. Who's to say you meet a woman and she doesn't, show up with a pistol and points it at you? So we're not supposed to be worried about our safety just because we're men? Do you know how many psychopathic women there are nowadays? Too many to mention if I were to count on both hands and feet. Both my fingers and thumbs. And all my toenails. Or all my toes, I mean. I'm actually warming up. It's not that bad. Once you take a lap, even if it's a little chilly and you're layered up, you have your gloves on, hat on, it's all good. I've got a bunch of beanies. I got a bunch of North Face beanies, Under Armour beanies. I got a lot of great beanies years ago when they were like 70% off. So I've got unopened beanies. I've got a lot of them that are open. I've got half of them. I've got like 10 packs of beanies unopened and like 10 of them that are open. Because, years ago, I found these incredible deals on Under Armour and REI and other sites. Like, they were massively liquidating stuff. So I'm like, shit, I'll spend $300-400 on a couple grand worth of merchandise and just tuck it away and never pay full price for that, but get the top-notch shit at 70% off. But yeah, I really look forward to 2025. And lots of great things are coming in 2025. Just lots of great stuff is coming. And as it happens, we'll make you aware. I'll make you aware. Looks like they're having a party at the American Legion building over here. It's an old building. I wonder if they're going to tear this one down and redo it too, because it's on the property of the park. Look at this. We've got the U.S. flag and then California Republic. I think this is an event for kids. I remember those days being in grammar school and high school and going to these events. Those were some fun days, I'll tell you that. Those were some days where you didn't have to worry about responsibility. All right? You just had to go to school, get good grades, and then go to dances and other events. You didn't have to worry about any bills or anything. And as I walk around and these events are happening, it just reminds me of the good old days. And there were some not so good aspects of the younger days too. I've shared those before, and maybe we'll talk more about that in the new year as well, because life is a learning game. It's a learning process. And everything that you do, you learn from it. Especially if you make mistakes, and lots of them. And most people do. I believe all people make mistakes. Some make worse mistakes than others. It all depends on how they were raised and, what their home situation was like. Did they have both parents? Did they have one or the other parent? There are lots of things that affect us when we're growing up. At some point here at the GNA, we also want to create an aspect. Part of the vision is to create an aspect of family resources, especially like for single parents, right? Or even for parents that are still married and happy and all that, they need resources as well. We're not going to leave anyone out. But I think more so, the children that struggle are the ones that only are being raised by one parent. Now, in some cases, there's a divorce and both parents are still involved. In other cases, sometimes a man gets a woman pregnant and runs and gives up his legal rights to the kids, and the mom does it all on her own. We want to be able to provide resources to that mother. And there are lots of those resources. A lot of people just don't know how to find out about government resources. And it doesn't mean you're going to get those resources, but we can help you by pushing you in the right direction of what to do to maximize your chances of getting any resources you're entitled to help you. Because any way that we can help you, whether it's through us, if we can fund it during that point, or the government, it's all going to give your child a better shot at life. And that's where our heads and hearts are at, These are all the types of things that I've always wanted to focus on. This has been a part of the long-time vision of the GNA, right? And it all stems from personal development, because it all starts with figuring out who you are and learning to love yourself, right? Because if you can't figure out who you are and learn to love yourself, then you're no good to anyone else. It's just the truth of the matter. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the truth of the matter. It is what it is. We're going to do one more lap here tonight. But like I was saying, this has always been the bigger picture. And, I think during this last lap, I'm going to talk about, how even I've made mistakes thinking I was doing the right thing even over the last few years, when I realized I wasn't, Now, there were some things out of my control that I had to take care of. But, if I could go back and do certain things over again, I would have ignored a lot of stuff that I've been just ignoring or not really caring about in the present. I'm going to have to cross the street because there are some kids over there. Now there are a bunch of cars coming. There are a lot of kids playing out. It's cold outside. Wow. That reminds me of my younger days. I'm trying to sneak on by before these kids notice I have a camera with a light on in the front. And then they run up to me and say, are you on YouTube? Are you on YouTube? They don't ask, they don't say if you're on Twitch or if you're on, there are other people coming over here. They don't ask if you're on Twitch or any other video platform. They just immediately default to asking, are you on YouTube? That just goes to show how much better YouTube is than all the other competitors combined. But yeah, I feel like I've wasted so much time because I really wanted to roll everything out. I'm going to be rolling out early in 2025 in just a few weeks. I was going to first do it in 2023. Didn't happen. Then 2024, it didn't happen. But now in 2025, it's going to absolutely happen because I am doing things and taking actions and preventative measures to not get distracted ever again. But to be fair, I still need to be fair to myself. To be fair to myself and fair in general. I think part of the reason why I'm now in the position to really run away with this in 2025 is because, and I'm not saying I'm all that, but this is something we can help you folks overcome and accomplish if you're struggling with it as well. I think a lot of the reasons why it's going to really move forward this time is based on all the preparations and things I've done over the last year and a half to 2 years to get it to this point. And a lot of people that have been following me for years for whatever reason, whether it was drama content, whether it was legitimately or whatever, right? A lot of you know what I've been through. A lot of you know a lot of things that are going on. Many things I am just choosing to not talk about because I just don't feel the need to talk about them. And I'll tell you this, there are things right now I could be talking about that would really stir up the pot. Because there are things that I know, there are things that I know about other things outside of me that the public doesn't know about. And you have to also understand that a lot of times what you hear at face value is not the entire story. Some people get to the, final position of the story, but they don't realize that there's also meat and potatoes involved, right? They leave out the meat and potatoes and then they just go to the end of the story. And then they pass judgment on you based on the end of the story, but they leave out the meat and potatoes that they don't want people knowing about, right? So I'm choosing to let a lot of things go because I just want to let a lot of things go. I never wanted to deal with many things in the first place. But at the same time, I cannot control what other people do, right? But I will say this. Every single thing that I've done in the last year or so, every single thing, even to those of you that know me and don't like me or whatever, right? Every single thing I've done has been with a purpose, for a purpose. And it's put me on the right path to really take this to the next level. I have spent an enormous amount of time and money that I really don't have, but when you need to spend it, you got to spend it. If you have to charge it, take a loan, whatever you have to do. I spent an enormous amount of time and money on many things to protect myself, my business, and other things. So that way, at the beginning of 2025, myself, well, let's bring Dawn first because I want to put her before me because that's what a good guy does. Dawn, myself, and other people that have been a part of the organization for years, we can finally have our lane to do what we wanted to do for the longest time. Final lap, folks. Final lap, folks. We are at 55 minutes. You know, I got to say to the moderators here at the GNA, formerly known as Coach Eli, right? That's what we were known as. And who knows? Again, it's my name. I have the rights to my name. Who knows? Who knows what happens to the Coach Eli brand in 2025? Who knows? What I will tell you is, regardless of what happens to the Coach Eli brand, the GNA, these channels are staying exactly the same. The name is not going to change. This is what it's going to be. And then we also have the original Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short, channel that we can do some stuff on there that, you know, because that channel, I'm never going to monetize that channel. That channel will be, because that channel, you know, and my Elias Melas channel, there are a bunch of copyright claims on there because a lot of the places where we recorded our speaking events, especially if they were like at a Mimi's Cafe in their private room, they had copyrighted music on in the background, lightly, and it was recorded on the video, and YouTube's Content ID system caught it. And those are the channels that, you know, we could do stuff like that if we need to use a little bit of copyrighted content under fair use. A copyright claim is not going to get your video taken down. You just can't monetize it, right? And if you get too many of those on a monetized channel, you could lose your monetization. So, you know, we're going to be separating that. There's a lot of stuff that I could upload to the GNA, the regular Genuine Networking Association website. A lot of stuff that's on the GNA website that I should also put on YouTube. And I probably will. So there's a lot of stuff in the works. But the reason why I feel right now it's going to really, really take off is because of everything that not only myself, but my girlfriend Dawn and other great people like Tia and Sandra Palacio and Queen Helen Casey and many others have done over the last year. It's all been a collaborative effort to get it to go where it's at. The days of the scrutiny are pretty much over, in my opinion. You know, I can't control what other people do, you know, but as far as, you know, this Coach Eli hate group, or this Eli hate group, however you want to call it, I feel that it's run its course. And, you know, I want to speak on this because, look, I'm not criticizing anyone. Everyone makes mistakes. And it's okay if you make mistakes, but some people repeat the same mistakes over and over again. It creates a pattern. And at that point, you have to wonder, do they realize their same mistakes, or are they just doing them intentionally because that's what the audience wants, right? And that's what I think it is, right? But you know, I firmly believe that this whole Eli thing is done. And it's actually a very good thing. It's actually a very incredible thing. Give me a second. Switch the front camera again. What I was going to say is that over the years, and I'm just mentioning this because this is what happened. I'm not here to shame or criticize anyone, but there have been so many people that have come at me over the years. And even if they think they've succeeded because they made a lot of money off my name or they won at other things, at the end of the day, what have you really won? And is it even about winning, right? What has this cost all of these people that had come at me for years, especially creators that made a lot of money off me? Every single one of them has had at least one or more channels terminated. Every single one of them has been a part of the YouTube partner program. Well, most of them, not all, but most of them have been a part of the YouTube partner program. And every single one of them has been removed from the YouTube partner program at least once or multiple times. So at the end of the day, I keep saying this, was the juice worth the squeeze, right? And at the end of the day, and I'm not saying this to pick on anyone, I'm saying this in general, at the end of the day, you know, many people have had to deal with legal protective orders over all of this. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Is any amount of money or fame or being addicted to having a large audience watching your live streams, is any amount of money or amount of fame worth it regarding what it cost you? And clearly, a lot of the people that have done this, they're very coherent and supposedly they're smart people. They all knew what they were doing. And they chose to still do it because, you know, sometimes people will do anything for money. I won't. I'll tell you this, what I'm proud of. These people made a lot more money than I did. Right? But it cost them their YouTube partner program status. It cost them, some of them, it cost them restraining orders, right? For me, I have not made as much money as these people. Doesn't mean I'm not going to make good money in the future. But what I'm proud of is I've had 2 channels here on YouTube that have been monetized for many years. The main channel just had his 6th birthday, 6th-year anniversary. It's been monetized for 5 years. And This channel here, GNA2, just had its 5-year anniversary. I got to share that. It's showing in the back end of YouTube. And it's been monetized for 2.5 years. I've never had any issues with reused content because I don't use anyone else's content. I create all original stuff, right? So I may not have made as much money, but I've never had any issues with my channels. And the one thing I'm most proud of is my dignity. I have my dignity, my pride, and I'm proud, very proud of my morals, values, and ethics. Now, even people that have very strong morals, values, and ethics like I do, we make mistakes and we do things that can potentially question other people whether we do have strong morals, values, and ethics, right? You know, everyone has their own opinions, and how people are going to see you or feel about you is subjective to how they see you. Sometimes they can base it off of what you're actually showing them. Other times you could be the top-notch, professional, respectful, down-to-earth person, and people will still paint you otherwise. It's all up to each individual. Again, it's subjective to the individual on how they want to interpret how they see you based on how their interactions are with you or how they perceive their interactions to be with you, which is more so the case, right? That's why I've said in the past, what's even more important at times is perception over reality. Perception, especially when you're a public figure, perception is huge. Because if people paint you to be something you're not, and they could do or say things that sound convincing even if they're not true, they can paint you to be perceived as a horrible person by other people that have never even come across you, right? I've learned that the hard way out here on YouTube. And I didn't handle it the right way initially. Now I am. Now I know exactly how to handle it. And we're going to teach people how to better handle it in the new year, right? If anyone's going to chat today, please start getting your final questions, comments, or concerns. We're going to be going off the air in about 7 to 10 minutes. I'm getting used to using these touch gloves, especially when you use the thumb. You can depress. You see the front part of it here? Let's see if I can show you. The tip. And one tree is lit. I wonder if this guy is still testing. It's December 13th. Typically these would be on. Everything would be on, but maybe he's trying to save power. Oh, Don would love this tree. It's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. One of these days, I do want to take Dawn to the Zappi Family Circus. I think it's done. It's done for this year. Redwood City Parks and Rec with dancers in the park present annual family holiday music and light show, December 15th through January 1st, 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Nightly themes listed at roads. So this is what it probably is. 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. So this is what it is. They're probably doing it for an hour at a time and then turning it off to save power. Starting to get a little bit more windy. It's not supposed to rain until about 9 o'clock, but there's like a 10% chance of rain, and that's still a possibility. I don't really see many clouds in the sky above me, but we're about to wrap up anyway, so we're good. Now tomorrow, I gotta find a break when it's not raining, and then go to the trail. I really enjoy going to the trail a lot more than walking at the park. I love the park too, don't get me wrong. But I enjoy the trail more, you know. It's more peaceful, less distractions. The air is like fresher over there. I mean, the air is fine here too, but it's just, you're in a nature type of environment. I love that. I love that. Really nice, huh? It's beautiful. Look at that. I almost feel like singing Frosty the Snowman. I saw Frosty the Snowman on that resident's porch back there. Or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? Everyone knows the story about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. And then the funny one was like a light bulb. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They would bully fucking Rudolph. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was fucking bullied, right? And they never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games, right? But guess what happened next? What happened next was then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa, who was the big boss, the head honcho, right? Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history, right? Now, I'm not trying to compare myself to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. My story is very similar. What I'm trying to say to you folks is I'm about to have my Rudolph moment. And that's coming in 2025. And just because Rudolph is different than all the other reindeers, or was different, right? He had a shiny nose. The other reindeer didn't realize how special and unique Rudolph was. They would pick on him because they were fucking jealous that Rudolph served a special purpose that they didn't. That's one hell of a moral of a story to end tonight's show at 74 minutes, an hour and 14 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. It's getting a little chilly. I love each and every one of you. Happy Friday the 13th. It's a good luck day for me. It's always been. I'm going to continue the trend. I'm going to probably get some food because I don't feel like cooking tonight. Dawn and I will cook tomorrow. And eat dinner with Dawn. Netflix and chill, right? And then got some other work to do over the weekend. Like I said, the GNA website, the Positivity Pledge is coming. I hope you're all spending some time with your friends and family and doing positive things during this holiday season. Love everyone. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, please be good to each other. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.